and giving my info out, and it's honestly helped a lot more than before. And I always make sure that I have handouts and things like that, because there is still those people that like something to have in their hands at these open houses. People just,
I'm a paper person.
I know, like, there's so many people that are like, they don't have anything anymore, and I'm like, you gotta, like, I put like books together, and like people still like to have something material to bring with them. And I mean, there's a lot of people that go to like 5 open houses a day. You give them a reminder.
Right.
It doesn't matter, you know, it's like, yeah, it costs a little bit to make them or something, but at the same time, it's helping, and it gives them a reminder, and your name's on it. So that's my biggest thing.
Cheap advertising.
Yeah, but I hate sign-in sheets. I don't know if that's a bad thing to
ask
say.
for their contact information then, like if you feel like you had, or you just hope
If
that
they want additional information, and if they have questions, that is the time where I'm like, hey, let me know. Let me know what your info is, and I'll give you a call here and let you know what that answer is. And sometimes, like, you know, a majority of the time, you know, you kind of have an idea of an answer, but there's some stuff I don't really want to answer without, you know, knowing for sure from a seller and that kind of thing. And then I'll ask for their contact info just so I can follow up. But there's a reason I'm following up. I'm not following up to be pushy. I'm following up because they asked me to. So that's like the biggest thing is I don't want to just take everybody's. And half the time I feel like they sign in, they give you the wrong info anyway.
So I'm sure that you have told people, even when you do know the answer, why don't you give me your information? I'll follow up on that.
Right?
I mean, I would.
Follow up.
I'm not sure. Let me check. That's.
I only know partial. I'm not going to tell you the partial.
No.
You know.
How do you advertise prior besides MLS and Zillow? Like, do you make phone calls? Do you door knock?
So, like, again, I'm not pushing Coldwell, but we have like a social media thing at Coldwell. We have a social media thing at Coldwell that we can put it in, and then we can do it, and it sends it out to all the social media stuff.
Yeah.
And so I do it beforehand.
Yeah.
And then I put it on the Facebook, and I usually boost my Facebook photo or my Facebook events and that kind of thing. But also I use that social media engine a lot, and it just pushes it out to everywhere.
Is it automatic, or does it take like 24 hours to update?
Usually it takes 24 hours for it to do it, so I usually do it, just make sure I do it ahead of time.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, that's good.
Yeah.
Any other questions out there?
What builders do you represent?
C&J in Westview.
Okay.
Yep, so Jeff Hughesby and Aaron Clay. Yeah. We do a lot of stuff, you know, we don't do Hudson. Everybody always calls us, do you guys have anything in Hudson? We do not have anything in Hudson. Those guys kind of want to stay away from Hudson.
It's expensive to do something.
We have a kind of a standard, we have a standard quality that we want to keep, and we want to keep prices in an affordable range, and so that's a hard thing to do in Hudson. Yeah. And so we just kind of avoid it. I mean, we'll do like custom stuff in Hudson, you know, if someone has a lot, but we usually try to stay in River Falls, you know, River Falls to Richmond, Hammond, Baldwin.
Yeah. I've often called you and said, you have a home out there under $350,000.
No.
Come on, anywhere.
I do have one right now, and one in New Richmond. That's it. One.
See, they're out there. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anybody else?
How many offers on the Prescott property?
We had 3 on that one. We had a lot of showings. Holy moly, that place was a zoo. What's that?
What a great house.
It is a great house. They did a lot of work to that before I allowed them to put it on the market.
She used to come to my house and organize all my closets.
I know, she was so worried about the closets. I was like, that is not the biggest worry, but it's great. I'm glad you're excited about the closets, I told her, but I'm like, there's other stuff that could be done.
That's interesting. Yeah. What do you tell people? How do you approach people if you walk into their house and you're like, holy man, there's holes in the wall, you know, like the appliances are from 1968.
Yep.
And the cat smell. Yeah. How do you approach that? I mean, it's definitely a sensitive thing in some cases, and all cases, but
usually at that point, then you I feel like you kind of just slowly give a little bit of a nudge about it and kind of let them know, like, hey, I like to tell them, hey, I'll give you, you know, we're going to talk about price, and let's talk about like 2 prices.
Yeah.
This is the price if we're going to go as is, this is where it is, this is what it is. And then this is if you do this, this, and this, here's what kind of value you can get. And then, excuse me, it's like more or less then I feel like then you're not kind of like wow, your house is terrible. You know, at the same time, you're like, hey, it's got good bones, but you can do some more, you know,
Yeah.
to it to gain some equity and kind of make it more of an equitable thing instead of more of a, kind of way, I would say.
So
I
they-
mean, but there's some that you just can't. Like, there's
There's nothing you can.
there's nothing
yeah.
you can do on some of them.
Yeah. So did they ever
A
hold you
match.
to that value? Like, you said I'd make, 10 grand more if I did this.
I feel like I'm pretty conservative with my values though. Like I'm really, really like, I see like, that's one of the biggest things too is I've had like because of my new construction, I talk to more appraisers than I would like to talk to.
Yeah.
I talk to appraisers all the time because they always know that they have to call me about the new construction stuff and they have a lot of questions and things like that. And so I talk to them a lot, which has helped me because I've gotten, really, really helpful with like Kevin O'Neill is amazing if you have questions. Troy D'Agostino is Troy's like a wealth of knowledge. I love
right.
Troy.
Yeah.
Eric Hendrum is amazing. And like, I will call him like, hey, I want you to tell me how you do your job. And that helps me do my job to make sure that, where I'm at is correct.
Yeah.
And that's one of the biggest things. I mean, obviously you can't help it if a seller wants to list like ridiculously over what your suggestion is. But that's, I think, the biggest thing. And sure, there's sometimes that we're all going to be wrong. And I've admitted before where I'm like, hey, I thought it would be for sure like a shoe in at this, but guess we're that. But I don't think I've had anybody get real upset
I
about
feel
it.
like I'm going through that right now. No, I've done similar to you. I'll call the appraiser and be like, is this going to be of any value at all? Like some pole barns are the most surprising to people. I think that's hard for people when they
Yeah.
have this beautiful pole barn in their yard and you're like, it's great, but it's probably going to only get you this much value.
Right.
And it's,
Right.
it's more valuable to the buyer, but the price doesn't add up to the value it is to the buyer.
Right.
So,
100%.
yeah.
And I think that's like the biggest thing is getting just like learning from those guys is awesome. And those three are always willing to be really helpful. And I think I think that's helped me in a lot of situations because there's some houses too where I'm like, I have no idea. I have no idea what to price this house at. Like it's, some random house that's, there's nothing around it that's ever been sold for that much. That's a really hard part too. There's definitely some of those and they're really helpful.
Yeah.
So getting a good relationship. I'm big on, that's my big things, and Mary knows that too, is like, one of my biggest things is I try to stay in good graces with pretty much everybody. There's some agents that I don't get along with, but I try to stay in good graces with pretty much everybody because at the end of the day, like, it's not personal. Like,
Right.
our job is not personal towards each other.
Right.
And like, that's the thing is like, we were talking about how there's like, certain agents that always want to fight. And I'm like, I don't want to fight. Like, I don't have much fight left in me.
Yeah.
I don't want to
I
fight.
fight enough with my kids.
Exactly. I'm like, I don't want to fight with other people, other agents.
Yeah, I had to suck up $5,000 in one of our deals.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, that was horrible.
But you know what it is? At the end of the day, like, that's
It
the thing.
closed.
It closed. And that seller probably would come back. And you know what? And that's the one thing too, is like whenever because we talk about that. I've made mistakes.
Yeah.
Like I have made expensive mistakes.
Yeah.
And I have paid for my expensive
And you never
mistakes.
make them again.
And you will never do it again. I will tell you that. Like there is that particular mistake, you'll never do it again. And that's the thing. I don't remember. You know what? I think it was Susie's. I think it was Susie's listing one time that I forgot to add the washer dryer in there. I forgot to add a washer dryer in there and the seller took them. It went to the final walkthrough. My buyer's like,
I don't remember that.
it was a long time ago. And I was like, oh shit. Like, oh my God. And I was probably only 3 years in. Tyler and Reagan's. Yep. And it was like 3 years in, 2 years in. And I had to buy them a whole new washer dryer. And of course they wanted that nice set that was in there.
Right?
I
You don't want
never
their
did
Mana?
a sense.
You can't get them the Mana set? No?
Right? No.
I had to do that with a water softener system.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
horrible.
Yep. Forget that it's not.
At the closing
Oh.
table, where's the water softener system? Like, oh, God.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You make mistakes and you're always going to make mistakes. There's never, if someone says they've never made a mistake in this business, they're full of it. But you'll just never make that same mistake again, but you'll make another one. You always will. It just is it. It's the case,
For me, it's the docs. If the doc is in the picture, if it's in the pictures and you ask about the doc, Before you're writing in the offer, okay, and you're
Yeah.
asking about it, I was like 6 months in, and I'm like, I just assumed the dock came with it because we asked all about it, how it goes in and out in the winter
Yeah.
and stuff, and they were answering the questions, and I'm like, okay,
You don't put it
it was
in.
$30,000 dock.
Mhm.
Yeah. It left. They had to do so many repairs on the house that I think they actually took the dock in spite.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely did.
Yeah, because that was part of the house. That was part, it had to have been. There was no way the way they advertised it, that it wouldn't.
Well,
But, you know,
the seller knew who you were and. you
Yeah,
know,
that
who
was a
the buyer
problem.
was, yeah,
Yeah.
and I think that played into some of it too.
it's the problem with politics.
Exactly. That's why you never go on the city council.
Yeah, I don't know who does that. So, any other questions out there? Bueller? No? Going once? All right, well, thank you so
Yes.
much. I know that this is not your forte in life, but I'm really glad that you came, because I think I learned a lot. I'm sure a lot of people here learned a lot, so
Thank you.
thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was fun.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
That was a killer.
You did a good job.